Well, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Kurland, greeting you from my balcony here in Richmond, Virginia. I was awakened Sunday morning with a few thoughts that I really feel compelled to share about this Hebrew word, truth. And we are exhorted in Jeremiah 6:16, of course, to go back to the ancient paths. Job 8 through 10 tells us to go back and discover the things searched out by the fathers in the former generations. And I just kind of meditated on that and looked at this word and some of the implications of it, and wanted to share that with you all, especially regarding what's been going on in our country and all over the world these last few weeks and days. The Hebrew word truth, emet, is aleph, mem, tav. This is the first, the middle, and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, or they say aleph-bet. Jesus said in John 17:17, when he prayed to God, "Thy word is truth." And he was the very life of God speaking that, and so he has some really interesting things to imply when he says that. Now, aleph mem is the Hebrew word for mother. Eve was called the Kol Chai, the mother of all the living. So the symbol of life is the mother, and the second and third letter of Hebrew, the word for truth, are met or mut. It's the Hebrew word for death. So when Paul tells us in 2 Timothy 2:15 to rightly divide the word of truth, he's saying that it is an issue of life and death when you divide the word of truth. So it's really crucial to understand the reality of what the truth is about. The truth is orderly and structured, and it's a freeing reality. Jesus said you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free from what? From the power of sin and death. So once again, you see the power of the truth in the life of God setting you free from sin and death. And why are things so chaotic and out of order in this day and age? Because we're not living in the truth. Art Katz says you're made to live in truth. You're made in the image of the God of truth, and you're meant to live there, and things are out of order until you live in that reality. And it was interesting, the other part of meditation, where the Hebrew word for discernment is just the Hebrew word between. It's the dynamic of judging between good and evil, judging between right and wrong. And Solomon prays in 1 Kings 3 for a lev shema, a hearing heart, a heart that hears. And he asks for discernment to judge the people of Israel. And what's the first scenario you see right after Solomon prays for a heart that hears and for discernment? He has before him an issue of life and death, just like what we have here, life and death. And two prostitutes are brought to him, and they lived in the same house. They both had babies. One prostitute laid on her baby, and it died. So she swapped the live baby with the dead baby in the middle of the night with the other prostitute. And they come to the king, and they both claim that the living baby is theirs. And he says, well, bring me a sword. Bring me a sword. And he says, cut the baby in two. And he said, give half to the one lady and half to the other. And the mother whose baby she says, no, give it to her, let him live. And the other one says, no, kill him. And so Solomon discerned between good and evil there, between truth and error, and he realized that the heart of the mother was going to be true for the life of the baby. And so that discernment right there was the issue of life and death. And I think that's where it's coming down to right now. We're at the end of the age, getting closer, and it's an issue of life and death, truth and error, or truth and lie. And it's really important for us to divide the word of truth, life and death. So it's pretty simple, yet profound, how that reality is taking place right now. So I encourage you to live in the truth, to know the truth, Jesus Christ. Let him set you free from the power of sin and death, and live a life of discernment, especially in these last days. I really believe it'll come down to the matters of truth and lie and life and death. So, okay, thanks.